Welcome to the Your Little Castle Show, where we highlight the best experts that make your home into your little castle. Let's go! Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Craig Denton in studio. The HVAC is like one of the largest industries in the country by now. And then you want to find leaders who in your community for those types of industries to say that we want to highlight. So that's why we decided to have Mr. Denton on the show. Welcome, Craig, to the show.
Thank you, Carter. Appreciate you having me here.
Well, I do emphasize that, and a little bit, maybe it's a timely thing, but we've gone as far as to put an extra cooling unit in our studio because, man, if you're not comfortable, you start sweating and
it's no fun.
It's no fun. You've been doing this since 2004?
Ownership
is
since
the owner
2004. And
Anton's been around since 1980?
1980. I've personally been in the trade 32 years.
32 years? You started this when you were 7?
Makes me feel old.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about why did you decide to get in to this particular industry? I mean, this is something where it's a labor of love, I would assume, because you're out there, you're grabbing metal and screws and lifting big devices and air conditioning units and stuff. It's not an easy job, but you really get the satisfaction. Tell us why you decided to do that.
Yeah, it's not an easy job, and usually go to a home when it's hot as can be, right? And you restore air conditioning, and then you leave, unfortunately. You know, so you're always hot. But I got into this trade mainly to help people. I like to provide, professional services and help clients. And I also like to help my peers, just be successful in this trade. And I knew when I first went to school for heating and air conditioning that I would always have a job. We're always going to need heating and air conditioning.
What was the path that led you here? I mean, when it came down to it, you said one day, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, luckily for me, it was at an early age, right out of high school. I said, I'm going to go to Rankin Technical College and learn a trade. And heating and air conditioning, again, I chose that because I knew there would always be work. Back when, this is a long time ago, right? So a lot of jobs were being shipped overseas and whatnot at that time.
Right.
So I figured I will always have work no matter what the conditions are. So that's kind of the path. I started there, and then I started working at Anton's 32 years ago. And worked for a few years, and left and became a sheet metal worker and journeyman there, and until Gus Anton, the original owner, called and asked me to come purchase the company, and that was in 2004.
So 2004, head honcho, running things.
Yep.
That you're kind of young to be the guy running an organization, a company like that.
Oh yeah, I talked my wife into it. We were 32 years old with 2 young kids and had no business doing that, actually.
I got to dig in a little bit on that. At 32, you're saying I got an organization at that time, a multi-million-dollar company, I would assume.
They were smaller, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, in St. Louis, okay. But all right, so now you're taking over a business.
Yep.
Was there a little stress there, elevated, because your wife's like, you understand, if this doesn't happen,
yeah.
And lots of little extra pressure. I'm not trying to. I mean, you made it, so you proved that you could handle it. But at the time, I just can't imagine. I mean, there are some kids out there who start their businesses in their 20s and their 30s, but that's rare. Mm-hmm. And I'll let it put on you. And so now here you are. I guess looking back, here we are, so, in 2022. You made it. You made it.
Absolutely. We're doing well. I think maybe it was the combination of just being too young and not really knowing any better.
Okay.
And just having an entrepreneurial spirit. Every male in my family's been a business owner of some sort.
Okay.
And I guess it just runs in the family. So we just went for it. Again, maybe not knowing any better. And just had immediate success and growth. And then I sought out some true coaching and business leadership and courses to actually learn how to run a business properly. Right. That was key. So
that
helped a lot.
Sought some of the leadership. Well, that's important too. That'll help get you ahead, and especially when you have the advisory from people that know what they're doing. Tell me, what's an objection? One big hurdle that you felt like this is tough, and you learned a lot of lessons from that particular event. But What would you say there's one objection that really helped you to get through what you're to where you're at right now?
One objection. You mean a challenge? Like
Challenge, something that was a big challenge for you that you were like, all right, this was tough, but we made it.
So, in the later years, the challenge was really letting go, training your team and to become leaders, and then letting go of some jobs and trusting that they're going to run the business on the day to day, and just letting go, and then that enables me to work on the business instead of in the business every day, and the team does a fantastic job.
Yeah, because I say a lot of people would argue probably likely that they're going to say, hey, I had this particular event or this particular happenstance with a client, but I hadn't had somebody mention learning to release some of the responsibilities, because that stunts your growth, I guess, right? And if you're trying to run a company and people are saying, I need this and I need that, and you're trying to do it all, it doesn't get done. Is that what you're kind of
and I did it for years, till I learned better. It takes a while to let go and just trust your team that they're going to do the right things,
And I guess some of those times you're like, they didn't do it quite the way I wanted to, but they did learn from it.
Of course that's going to happen, and then you just coach, and then you build this team and this bond and culture, which we have now, to where it's constant coaching, and everybody is just wonderful to work with. So
that's key. Yeah, developing those relationships and making sure that you get it. And that's what we really want to help emphasize here is how do you provide a success? What was the path that you got there? So, and I'm going to extrapolate here a little bit to say, when I figured out you guys have been around that long and you've been at the helm for that many years, I said, we got to can we pick this guy's brain? Because
right.
That is something that kind of really sets you apart. There are very few businesses that make it that long. And so share some of the tips and tricks, and that's why we invited you to the show here.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Very cool. What is it about your business that really fuels your passion? I mean, is it something, obviously, we wake up every day, you got to be willing to go out there and do it. This is one of those jobs where you're out in the heat, you're out in the cold, but you still had to go out and do it. What was your passion that really kept you going on this?
I mean, my passion originally was doing a good job for our clients, providing world-class service, installing that system and just having it be perfect and professional. And now it's kind of shifted as I've grown, and my passion is really building leaders within the organization and adding to our awesome culture that we have at Anton's Air Conditioning Heating. Building leaders is really the true passion now.
So yeah, that's got to be exciting with regard to when you started to turn over some of the reins to some of the guys who've been helping you run the company for a long time. You start to identify the leaders who want to make this happen. And so you took that leap to say, all right, we're willing to give this guy a shot. We know they're going to mess, or got all shot. They might mess some of this up, but you stood back and let them do it and then pull them through there. How many leaders do you think over the years you've had to help develop? I mean, it's part of the job. If you didn't develop them, then the business may not succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, it's many, to answer your question originally, but now we have 7 on our leadership team that we have weekly meetings with. They're very structured. And now we've just broken those leadership meetings out into the departments in the company. So we're ready for our next set of growth here. And we're actually bringing on a plumbing division now as well.
Wow.
So that's exciting, yes.
So expansion, growth, and multiple
trades.
Yeah, because plumbing separate from HVAC as by definition, but something that kind of ties into what you do, I guess, a little bit.
It does a lot. We've hired a master plumber, so we have that, and then we're looking. We're going to acquire a couple plumbing companies here in the next 60 days. So we'll be off and running. Yes.
Acquiring. Here you go, ladies and gentlemen. Acquiring businesses. If you're going to be a leader in the community, you have to be willing to go and say, we're going to purchase this company and bring it into our realm and make it run successfully.
Yeah.
That's a big challenge too.
Truly exciting and challenging, but we're gearing up for it now in the right ways.
Okay. So. What is the one thing about your organization that you feel really sets you apart? One thing that this is what made us better than everybody else.
So Carter, that's a great question and one I really like to focus on. We have BPI certified energy auditors on staff. We have 5 of them currently. That's Building Performance Institute. So what that is basically doing building science in parallel with heating and air conditioning, because the heating and air conditioning system relies on the home and the duct system as an entire system. So we really dive in and we do negative pressure tests on homes to locate and quantify home leakage, duct leakage, and with our software we can kind of show the clients what that leakage does to the size and the efficiency, you know, of the heating and air conditioning unit they either have or they're looking to purchase. And it helps guide them on making the right choices. You know, do they need to fix some things on the house, tighten it up, insulation, things like that, or do they want to spend their investment on a really high-end heating and cooling system? You know, or do they just want to fix the home and tighten the ductwork to save money? So it gives flexibility, and we just like to educate the consumers and then let them make the choice on where they'd like to invest, you know, to be comfortable and save the most money.
Save the most money. So I've got on the screen here your energy assessment on the on our screen. Talk about that. Is that what you're kind of referring to? This is where you go in and you dig in. This is something that really sets you apart, because you're going in to say, I can with a fine-tooth comb, show you the areas that are best for your
Precisely. We set up a big red blower door and a fan like in the front door of the home, pull the house into a negative pressure, then we're measuring the amount of leakage the house has at that point. And then we go with a device which is called a flow hood. We measure the ductwork leakage, and then those two leakage numbers we just plug in the software, as I mentioned, and it calculates what that leakage does to the size and efficiency of the heating and cooling system. So basically, if they're looking to purchase a really high-end 20 SEER or 20 mile per gallon air conditioner, if they put it on a leaky duct system in a leaky home, that 20 SEER or 20 mile per gallon unit may only achieve 16 or 14 or even worse. So it's really absolutely necessary that we know this information so the customer can make the right choice.
Well, information is power, and with this kind of an analysis, right, this really helps your consumers. This is going to separate any business that can dig in this deep. Is there anybody else that does anything like this in St. Louis?
No. So you have your energy auditors out there, but there's not an HVAC company that's doing this.
Nobody else does this. Well, that would definitely separate you. And to get, I'm a numbers guy, and with regard to analysis at Anheuser-Busch, they called me a senior technical analyst.
Oh,
and we had to dig in. This particular connection at certain speeds could handle this many emails and this kind of data. You're kind of blowing my mind there with regard to now you're really impacting. That was neat. Somebody, my girlfriend used to joke with me, Carter, you just make sure everybody gets their lunch plans. That's about all you really do. But when you're talking about HVAC, and now you've got to keep people in a healthy environment so that they're not overheating and having strokes. I mean, there's all kinds of things that go on with it, and much less to say just saving them a lot of money.
Yeah.
Are those some of the core things you're going to deal with regard to when you're helping people with this stuff, obviously?
Absolutely. And I'd like to add, when you talk about healthy air, so during this test, we show with an infrared camera and smoke the air movement in the house. So we can show, and typically you'll see air leaking from the attic into the home. So I don't know if you've ever been up in your attic, but you probably don't want to be breathing what is up in the attic. Really?
So it's not that it's just hot air.
It's nasty fiberglass. There's rodents that run around in our attics. When they do, you know, they're leaving their droppings and things around, and it actually forms a toxic air. Wow. And then when we show that air is getting into the homes, you can imagine it's very unhealthy.
Okay, now we're touching on some things that most people do not seriously consider or probably even contemplate. I mean, when you're getting into toxic air, I mean, I just would say I stay out of the attic because it's hot. Mm-hmm. How much hotter is the average attic than the rest of the house? 20, 30, 50 degrees. I've seen these roofing guys put their little in the shade versus the non-shade area, and it's 200 degrees or something like that. You're right below that is the attic, right? So how hot does an attic get?
150.
150 degrees.
And then if that hot, humid attic air is getting into the home, you know, not even to mention the toxic air, but now we're talking bringing in hot, humid air, As your return air is over there on the wall, it's sucking air in, so it's sucking it directly from the attic, most likely. Not good.
Not good.
So this is what we do differently than
This is why you're
every
one
other
of
company.
the best in the country, and why
Yeah.
we were talking. We sit in the green room. This became the green room today, but we have sometimes we sit on the couch in a different part of the facility here to talk a little bit pregame prep. A lot of times we'll talk. People call that, but when you're discussing, just get to know somebody. You've been on stage. I mean, now it makes sense. You've been the keynote speaker at a number of occasions for national conferences in big areas across the country.
Yeah.
This is how you do it, ladies and gentlemen. You dig in and learn the nitty gritty of it beyond what the average person is willing to do, and that's what sets you apart.
And that's really my passion as well. You know, back in 2008 when I learned a building science, I learned that the systems themselves, the heating and cooling system, is going to get more and more efficient. And as it does, if you install that on a leaky ductwork system in a leaky home, customers may actually have more problems than they had before when they replaced their system, because these systems are designed in a laboratory, perfect conditions, right?
Right.
So we bring them out and we install them on a home. They're less than perfect conditions a lot of times. It could cause issues.
So you're not getting, even though you've established a brand new unit to attach to everything that's going on in the house, you're the efficiencies with the plumbing, if you will. I get the
ductwork.
The ductwork, right?
Mm-hmm.
That can be reduced to the overall effect and cause problems.
Absolutely.
Beyond what you had before. That's because the unit's stronger and pushing more air and doing more, so those cracks are now further exaggerated.
Absolutely.
Leaks, and then it causes more problems than what you would have had.
I always tell, because the duct system, you know, if it's leaking out of air's leaking out of every little connection, it really adds up to about we see 40 to 50% of loss of air with leakage. And, you know, you just picture, we tell customers if we're in the basement of their home with a bucket of water, we poke a bunch of holes in it, we say, now run 2 flights up to your master bedroom. How much water's left in that bucket? And they say, none. It's like same thing with your ductwork system. The blower is down in the basement in the furnace many times, trying to push the air up to the second floor. It's pushing it out of all the leakage and all the holes in the duct system.
These are conversations most people don't have.
Correct.
Until they've had somebody sit in front of them and say, well, let me give you a demonstration, at least a mental demonstration to talk about these things, and just do the math. When you're losing 50% of your cool air, how much more money are you spending now? You're spending 150%, 200% of what you would have had if you'd just had a good system, and that's a lot of money to be thrown away.
Correct. And many times also where we're different is if a customer has a comfort issue and they call and their air conditioning's working fine, but they're uncomfortable and their bills are high, we're the only company that's going to come in and assess what's actually going on and say, okay, you want to invest X amount of dollars, but your system's working, so just keep that till it dies. Let's seal the ductwork, let's seal the home and insulate properly. You know, so by that information, you can, again, make the right choice. You know, and just keep, so we're not there just to sell a new heating and air conditioning system. We're there to actually solve the issue.
Solve the issue. That seems like a good idea versus
right?
just making another sale. Hey, everybody, I got a $5,000 unit that nice little commission paid to whoever did that, but you're not fixing the problem in many cases because of all the other associated components that have to be up to par also.
Exactly.
Do you have to often, answer the question, do you have to often replace duct systems in houses? How do you do that? That seems like that would be a task.
We do. If they're exposed, you can get to them and replace them, and typically they're not the right size to begin with. But if they need to just be sealed, we actually have a system that we can hook up to the ductwork and seal it from the inside. So we don't have to do any destruction to the drywall or anything. We pressurize the system, and it's kind of like fix-a-flat for your car tire.
I was going to say, okay.
We introduce a sealant, and it seals all the leakage. Typically, we seal the air leakage about up to about 96 to 98%. I mean, it's never going to be perfect, but we're seeing, systems, again, leaking 50% of their air. So we can greatly improve the comfort and the efficiency, and again, stop that nasty air from getting into the duct system from attics and other areas that are unhealthy. So when we seal it, it can't get in. So there's a whole health, safety, comfort, and then, by the way, we might save you some money if we seal this ductwork. That's the approach we take.
One big challenge you've overcome, we kind of covered that. I mean, with regard to the just this business and coaching, I guess, was the big thing for you to get develop leaders.
You talked about like an objection people have, when calling for our service. Kind of like to talk about that.
Yeah, what's an objection that people give you?
Yeah, it's great. I'd like to touch on that. The number one objection or concern, I'd say, that people have when they call for service is not knowing what's going to happen. That's like, when surveyed, that's the number one, concern. What's going to happen when I call this company, plumbing, electrical? What are they going to do, right? So we developed a 6-step service system process that we train on 3 times a week, and that allows our team to go in with the system, and it ensures they provide, the same great service with great value, the same value at each and every visit of the customer's home. So now we know we're constantly delivering this world-class service, which, as you saw, produces all these great reviews we have and great rating on our website.
Well, let's put that up on the screen for everybody. I want to give everybody a look at that, because when you talk, as an internet marketing guy, we always talk about reviews. People want to know, give me something tangible and that used to be a lot more difficult, but Google, Facebook, a number of other organizations out there that put reviews out there for people to see. So
7,600 total.
So 7,600 total.
And then
I'm
Google.
gonna pull up what I found on the interwebs. So on the screen behind us, you can see that. I'll put this up on the TV wall for everybody else to see live on the screen, but it's on the wall behind us here. Check this out. I mean, Anton's Air Conditioning, look at your reviews. 4.9 out of 11. I'll go back to, we talked about this before pregame. 80 reviews. You got to get at least around 80 reviews. Some people like 5 or 7, some have none. 12, 20. You got to get around 80. It'd be nice if you could get to 180. It'd be absolutely astounding if you got to 1,180. This is just on the Google side. You said 7,000 total, probably from all of the accumulation of all of the review places, but just on Google, 1,180 with a 4.9. I've been doing this for a while. I have not seen anybody at a local level been able to accomplish that. What is it, do you think, that has allowed you to attain such a high level of satisfaction, and from so many people? I guess we've kind of covered it so far.
Yeah, I think so, right? It's just the constant training and having the system in place, the service system, and having a great culture. So we take care of our team, and they take care of our clients, and it's really just a fantastic organization.
What do you get the most satisfaction overall? I mean, when it comes down to, you're happy to help the community, you're helping develop leaders. Tell me if there's one little thing you said, hey, that's the thing that I wait for, still to this day, after 36 years.
So I love coming in just to, again, help coach my team and watch them become leaders and be successful. You kind of asked me earlier about, what does our company do to kind of contribute to the community, because that's another passion of ours.
That's the next question up, yeah. How do you feel you really contribute to the community?
Yeah, so our most recent, most exciting thing that we're doing is the Anton's Heroes program. We are providing a free lifetime USA Club membership for our maintenance agreement. So USA is Ultimate Savings Agreement.
Okay.
And it's a lifetime membership for our first responders and military folks. So that provides them many benefits of the program, in addition to 2 free visits per year to do a tune-up on the air conditioning unit and the furnace, and a safety inspection twice per year. So that's a free lifetime membership to those folks.
What do you do personally for fun in St. Louis? What would you say the thing you enjoy most in St. Louis?
It's not totally in St. Louis, but I really enjoy going to our lake house, which we have just down Highway 44 a little bit in Cuba,
Missouri.
Yeah, yeah. So we have a lake house there, and I enjoy family time there, going with the family, the wife, kids, and friends, and go boating and water skiing and all that. And then another really exciting thing that we do is my youngest son still plays ice hockey. So we really enjoy going to watch him and his team play. He's 06 birth year, and he plays for the St. Louis AAA Blues. So he's on a really fantastic team, and we love it.
Here's somebody, a leader in the community, and when we meet these people that are leading, like yourself, Craig, man, the white cowboy hat, we're saying, way to go. You're putting it together. That's kind of what that stands for.
You bet.
And we do the rings and the fun stuff too. Your most exciting moment in sports. We talked about that a little bit before we started the interview.
Right.
You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I know you're a big Cardinal fan, and so am I.
Right, yeah.
But it has to be the St. Louis Blues winning the Stanley Cup. That has to be the most exciting sports moment for me, because we waited a long time, 50 plus years, right, for that. So that was the most exciting. And then seeing the celebration in the streets and being able to do that with my sons, downtown for that parade, and that was just a highlight for me in sports. And then, of course, baseball-wise, 1982 World Series was great.
82 World Series. Yeah, there are few memories you have as a child that really stand out, but for me, that was definitely one of them. And so we'll even pull on here, just off camera. There it is, a 1982 replica World Series. We've got a 2006 and 2011 now, but this is our little tribute to the Cardinals and such an incredible organization here. And do you think that's a cool caveat that both the Blues and the Cardinals have together?
Oh, I love it. And then the fact that Busch Stadium, opened up the stadium for the Blues playoff games and aired them, and all the fans came and watched. That's exciting.
The game,
great city.
St. Louis really just kind of put it together. Every city's always got areas where they want to continue to do more and do better. We've got soccer now coming here, and so that's going to make a big difference, I think, for a lot of people that are going, hey, St. Louis is known for soccer for so many decades.
Right, very exciting.
All three of those here, too.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is rare that we get some leaders in the community with such an astounding background business-wise with regard to actually running a company, actually being in the trenches, actually developing so many leaders. And so it was an honor to have you on our show here today. And we look forward to seeing more of the excitement you have for our community. All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in here. This is the Your Little Castle show, and we're going to continue to highlight leaders in our community. Give a shout out to Craig, Denton, Anton's Air Conditioning and Heating.
Yeah, thank you, Carter.
Our leader in our community. We'll be back for more, everybody. Please stay tuned as we bring in these leaders, because we want to make sure those people get highlighted and get the emphasis and the information out there that the focus that they deserve, because we do have such awesome leaders in our community. All right, thanks everybody.